All right, we're about to start it up in just a minute.
Yeah, he's still doing it. You want to come around and see what he's doing?
Oh no, because we got what? It's 6 o'clock now. Is he ready to go? We're about to get started in just a minute. Turn left. Hi.
Well, be patient. I mean, you come over and look and see all the things he's doing. Just
No,
trying to
no,
get this back.
we
Have
all
you ever
good.
seen how it looks normally?
I've not
You haven't?
actually,
Oh,
so I wouldn't even know what I was looking at.
okay.
We're getting started shortly. Just waiting for the radio station to get tuned in so we can get started. I got some great topics we're going to talk about tonight. Hopefully, you guys will find Turn Left engaging. You know me, I always got something crazy to say, so we'll see what happens tonight. Mandy, Amanda, Leslie, Deborah, Barbara, welcome, welcome. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on in the news today, so as soon as I get the technical difficult things going on with the radio station, we'll get started and I'll, get you guys going. Hey Mona, how you doing? The cool part about it is I can say hey to everybody when they log in. That's kind of cool. So hopefully you got 60 minutes. If you don't have 60 minutes, what's up, sis? What's going on, Rusty? What's going on, Gina? How you doing? Not Dana Dane. Did you Dana Dane me? You went old school on him. If you want to tune in on the radio, you can go to www.radionext.tv, or you can download it from the app TuneIn. Download the TuneIn app and find Cool Grooves. Hey Charles, how you doing, buddy? And as soon as I get the go ahead, we're gonna go ahead and get the show started. In the meantime, I'm gonna get a drink. What up, ho? What's going on, Jay Smith? I'm waiting for the radio station to give me the go ahead to start the show. Looks like we're winding down now. Okay, maybe not. So we're just waiting. I'm gonna start my Turn Left show as soon as I get the go ahead from the producer. We're just waiting. What's going on in the region, Jay Smith? Everything all right up in Gary? There's a whole lot going on in the news. Yeah, I'll post the video on my page. I'll make sure that it's on there so you guys can recap later. Hopefully we'll get started here real soon so it's not a lot of dead time. Up in Chi-Town. You done crossed over the border. You know this is Indiana's own. What you doing in Chicago? Ah, my junior sensei. What's going on, Steve? My sister from another mister. What's going on, Felicity? We're about to get the show started soon. I'm just waiting for the go ahead. Of course, you already know. B-Day time. Where we eating at. As soon as I get the go ahead from the producer, we'll get the show started. Oh, thank you for sharing, y'all. I will. Thank you. I'm going to try to have fun. I hope you guys have fun. That's the whole point, is to have fun. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to go ahead and get started. And then if I have to repeat some things, we'll go ahead and do that. Welcome to Turn Left, everybody. My name is Dana Black, Indiana's own Dana Black. And it's an exciting time to be here again, talking about what's going on. Okay, we're live. We are live. Indiana's own Dana Black, Turn Left. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning. All right. You might want to turn that down so I don't drive myself crazy. Right on. There was a little reverb. Oh my goodness, there's so much that has been going on over the last few days, last few weeks, since the last time we spoke. Politics never stops. Isn't that wonderful? Politics never stops. Let's first start off with some things that you may not be aware of if you're not really entrenched with local politics or statewide politics. Over this past weekend, all 98 counties did what they call party reorgs. Basically, what it means is that they turn over leadership. All 98 counties. So I can't tell you all 98 counties and who the chairs are. But since I live in Marion County, I want to go ahead and give a huge shout out to Kate Sweeney Bell, who is not only our elected Marion County recorder, but she was elected as the Marion County chair for the Democrat Party for Marion County. So congratulations to her and her staff. I know I saw her yesterday, and I know that she has buckled down, and she recognizes the enormous task that is in front of her. And to be honest, she has an amazing predecessor that she has to try to follow. And I'm going to go ahead, and I know that we, tipped our hats to Joel Miller over the last several weeks when he announced that he wasn't going to run for the chairship anymore. But I just want to send another shout out to Joel Miller and say thank you for offering me mentorship when I decided to run for office. Thank you for not pulling punches. You know, what I liked about him was that he didn't try to appease my ego. I remember the funniest thing was, I thought that I was going to do, this huge, press conference announcement of me running for House District 88. And I'm telling him, like, should I get these signs and should I, get all this stuff ready to go? And he says, there's not going to be any press. Nobody's going to care. And but you know what? I appreciated that. I'm glad he didn't have me go out there pretending like I was something I wasn't, which was, nobody knew who I was. And the seat that I was running for, we knew it was going to be difficult. So, but in those conversations, I tell you what, he offered me sound advice on how to be successful as a candidate. I don't think it would have mattered what seat that I ran for. I would have been able to be successful if it was school board, if it was township advisory board, or running for state senate, or running for Congress. The advice that he offered to me during his tutelage and being a mentor was so incredibly valuable. And I want to just, again, tip my hat to Joel Miller, and I wish you all the success in the world. We are going to miss you, but I've got your personal phone number, so I'm not really worried about it. Just tell the wife and kids every now and then the dreadlock chick is going to call you and harass you. That's all you got to do. So that's the first thing. So again, congratulations to all the party officials who were elected over the weekend. I need a drink. Hold on. I get a little dry mouth. So on a personal note, so I get really excited about certain things that happen in my life. Being involved in politics and being involved with people who understand what's going on and how decisions are made. excites me when I still get giddy when I get around elected officials. I don't care if it's, city county councilman or Senator Joe Donnelly. When he comes down, I get excited. Um, Last night I sit on the board of the Indiana Stonewall Democrats, and Allie Brown, who is, first of all, one of my favorite people. Uh, she's an ally for the LGBT community, and her husband, they just had a beautiful baby boy. I mean, oh my God, they're newlyweds. They just got married in Vegas not long ago, maybe a year or two ago, and they had a baby. Well, she was the vice president of the Indiana Stonewalls, but seeing that she has this new responsibility of raising a new baby boy, she stepped aside, and Stonewall is going to miss her on the board. But at the same time, they elected me as the vice president. Now, I'm not going to tell you how excited I am, because Indiana Stonewall Democrats, that's one organization that I knew no matter how much time I had, I was going to dedicate time to Stonewall, because this organization makes certain or works hard to elect people who are looking out for the LGBTQ community. They vet them. They want to make sure how they stand. It doesn't matter what level. And we raise money for these candidates to try to help them get elected. So the fact that I sat on the board, I got to tell you a quick story about that too. So, Vice President of City County Councils Zach Adamson and his husband Christian actually approached me in 2014 and asked me to sit on the board. Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I had one Latino brother who looks really white, and then a white guy asking me to come sit on the board. I wasn't really sure why they was asking a sister to sit on this board. And I was kind of looking at him side-eyed like, I am not interested in being your token, right? Because I asked him, I said, well, what do you want me to do? Because I'm just not going to be there to say, look, hey, we got a black chick on our board. I wasn't going to do that. So I didn't, say yes right away. But over the course of the next, 12 to 18 months, I got the opportunity to know everybody on that board. From Rick Sutton. If you've never talked to Rick Sutton, this man has so much historical knowledge about how Indiana politics works. He is a walking encyclopedia. Getting to know Josh Peters, a young, energetic, first of all, when I first met Josh, I didn't even know he was gay. My gaydar must have been straight up turned off. I did not see that coming. But getting to know him, and then Christian and Zach, and my favorite, I shouldn't say that, but my dude, Russ Sipes, because he swears he can cook greens better than me, but I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. My mama from Mississippi. He's from Southern Indiana. I'm not buying it. So, he thinks he can fix better greens because he wants to use some hog, but I keep trying to tell him, don't go there. But getting to know everybody on the board, I realized it was a good place for me. Because it's a place where I can cultivate my energy and my love for politics and my love for my community. So thank you guys so much for putting that kind of confidence in me to be your vice president. Josh, I am looking forward to being your right hand. We're going to be out recruiting. We're going to be, asking people to join in on making sure that we don't go backwards when it comes to LGBT rights, and making sure that we get people elected who are actually looking out for our well-being. All right, enough about me and enough about all the reorg stuff. What's been going on in the news? There seems to be a lot of alternative facts coming from the feds lately. I'm going to get to those shortly, but I think I'm going to start off with some feel-good stories first, because this show is called Turn Left, and I am coming from a liberal, progressive, left side of the aisle point of view. But I got to give up props when props are due. And there's a couple of things our new governor has done that has made me take notice and go, oh, he's not like that last dude we had. He might actually care about Hoosier families. And so I know it's early on. I know it's early on in the game, but I've got to give it up to Governor Holcomb. First, last month, I wish I had found out about it while I was doing the show last month because it was Black History Month and all that good stuff. But, Governor Holcomb actually pardoned Keith Cooper last month. I found that fascinating, interesting that he did not, waste any time taking care of this necessary business. That's, to me, as a governor that understands the importance of taking care of family and what it is to, lead people, not just lead Republicans or lead rich people. He actually cares about people. So I want to, if you're not familiar with the story, Keith Cooper was convicted nearly 20 years ago of a crime he did not commit. And then in February, late February, Governor Holcomb pardoned him. I want to quote what the governor said because I think it's important to understand how he came to this conclusion. It was an executive order that he signed. When Mike Pence wouldn't sign it. I could go on a tirade, and I'm gonna get to Mike Pence in a minute with his AOL email using self. I'm gonna get to him in just a minute while he was all up in Hillary's madness about an email server that was not hacked. I'm gonna get to that in just a minute. But Governor Holcomb said, after careful and thoughtful consideration and review, something I've thought about every day over the last month. Just earlier today, I issued the pardon to Mr. Keith Cooper for his past, and I believe wrongful armed robbery felony. He said, I did so because since the conviction in 1997, many pieces of information that were out and about that have been brought forward since have changed, including a victim, an informant, even the deputy prosecutor who convicted Mr. Cooper on the first crime. All have stated support and no objection to the pardon. I am very much at peace pardoning him for the one he claims innocence for. So I guess there was a battery charge that they didn't pardon, but they did pardon him for the armed robbery. So, Mike, you could have done this if you wanted to, if you had any compassion in your heart and you actually cared about people and their lives. You could have pardoned this man. But I want to give kudos to Eric Holcomb, Governor Eric Holcomb, for stepping up within the first couple months of his governorship of this great state of Indiana and say, we're going to take care of business the way that we're supposed to take care of it. This is what he did. Second thing that I want to talk about, if you guys have followed me on Twitter or followed me on Facebook or followed any of my campaigning at the end, I talked a lot about Calumet and the lead that was found in the soil. And I even talked about it on the last show, where we had, a mother took her daughter in to the hospital because she wasn't quite right, and they found out that she had elevated lead levels in her blood. And it turns out that this whole community, this whole family, these families were living on essentially toxic waste dump. Could not for the life of me understand why none of the leadership outside of District 1 or, the region as they call it, were not interested in trying to help these families because not only, were they living on top of lead because of, these were, economically challenged families. So not only were they not able to, their health was being put at risk, they weren't actually able to find new housing because of, some of the Section 8 restrictions. So they were really forced to stay there. I mean, they really were not getting any assistance from anyone from the state to try to help resolve this issue. I know that the mayor had actually reached out and said, hey, can you guys come help us with this? Again, Mike Pence, with his Christian self and God this and God that, refused to help people who were in trouble. These people were literally, the health was in danger. Well, Governor Holcomb, he declared the area a disaster emergency for East Chicago. So what this means now is that they can get some federal funds. They can help them move out of this toxic situation and get themselves into a place where they can try to recover. And this was on the same day that he pardoned Keith Cooper, So on the same day, our new governor granted the disaster declaration in East Chicago to help address issues at the USS Lead Superfund site. The same request to Mike Pence was denied. Wonder why Mike Pence was so comfortable with letting little children play in soil that was tainted with lead. Maybe one day when I get the opportunity to interview him, I'll ask him that. But what this does is that you know um, it helps the residents. After months of local and state action to meet the safety, health, and housing needs of these East Chicago, he declared it a disaster emergency, and they can get the help that they need, and hopefully any future medical assistance they need will come from that. So, I mean, just in 2 months, less than 2 months, our new governor has demonstrated what leadership really looks like. And listen, I am a liberal, I am a Democrat. I love being a liberal. I love being a Democrat because I love what that stands for. But I got to give it up and give credit where credit is due because our governor said, listen, these two issues are critical to lives. They matter to. It wasn't about money. It wasn't about corporations. It was about individual people getting the help that they need. And he realized as governor, it is his responsibility to take care of these people. I tip my hat to you, Governor, on making sure that people can have a decent place to live. I mean, it just seems simple, doesn't it? But for some reason, Mike Pence didn't care. Now I don't understand. He was our governor for 4 years. Just think if he hadn't been tapped to be VP, what Indiana would look like now. Because he probably would have won, maybe. Who knew? The Trump phenomenon just kind of skewed everything. But it's shameful that a leader of a state would not do what is necessary to help families in need, and that's what Mike Pence choice. That's the choice he made. He decided that they weren't worth the effort, and Eric Holcomb, Governor Holcomb says, no, that's not what we're doing. We're going to do something different. We're going to take care of these people. All right. I'm going to take a quick break. We're going to have about a 3 to 4 minute break so that we can pay some bills and do some things. By the way, if you want to support this radio show, reach out to HB because I know he would love to get some sponsors for the show if you like it. All right. Give me just a minute, y'all. What's up, Fee Gray? I got family all the way in Dallas watching. That's what's up. I love it. I love it. What's up, Peter? Hope I'm not embarrassing you. Hope I'm making you proud, sir. Mr. Denny, Sean Denny. I tell you what, I'm gonna be more popular knowing that you are my friend because everybody is trying to get to know who Sean Denny is. What's going on? I hope everything is good for you. I know you were up at the Lawrence meeting earlier. Hey, Jenna, what's going on? Hey, I met you at the Metro. How's everything going? Hopefully, next time we do a show, you can come, Sean, and we can talk about the Lawrence Town state of the city. I imagine that you went to this morning. I would love to hear about it. I'm hoping my listeners would love to hear about it. And for that matter, I don't mind sharing the microphone. I don't have to talk for a whole hour by myself. If you are interested in sharing some information about what's going on in our with your organization, as long as it kind of has like a political tinge to it, because we want to keep the show political and about moving people forward and how they can get involved, reach out to me. Hey, my sister's watching. Hey, Noelle. So yeah, I would love to sit down and chat with you. Yes, it's the camera's on. We could put the camera on you, Sean. You're a good-looking man. Amber won't mind. So we'll have you come on and you can talk about what's going on in Lawrence at that meeting that you went to today. They playing some Tony Braxton over here. What's going on, Lisa? How you doing? I hope everybody had a good day at work today. I know I did. I was busy, but I got it in. I got it done. Every time I go to work, it seems like there's a new crisis. But I am a business / technical services consultant for the city of Indianapolis, And I basically help agencies in the city county building um, analyze and address any technical needs they have. Basically, uh, looking at things from a technical and business point of view. So I try not to let them spend any money they don't have, but I also try to, the tools that I offer them or show them, hopefully they um, will improve their business processes, improve the way they take care of business. So, uh, it can be because sometimes you get a lot of it, people want a lot of stuff right away, and some things can't be churned out right away. You have to kind of investigate and understand. Like I had to learn different industries that I wasn't familiar with, so it takes some time to. But I think communication is the key. As long as they know that I'm diligently working for them and I communicate where I am, it's been pretty good. And I have IMPD. IMPD is my customer. Yeah, I mean, it was crazy, dude. I spent my whole life. Now, people have heard me say this joke a million times. I worked my whole life trying to stay away from law enforcement. Now I work with them every day. Every day I'm working with them. But they have like interesting needs, interesting technical needs. So it actually has like broadened how I look at technology because they're not a 9 to 5 business, right? And they're not just one entity; they're a conglomerate of entities that make up IMPD. And so it's up to you to like understand how this group needs one thing, but this group needs something else. But how does it fit in the overall scope of what IMPD needs? But also is okay to fit within our enterprise because not everything can fit in our enterprise. So because you have to protect the other 40 agencies. So it's a cool job. Felicity says I'm a great BSC. Thank you, darling. But you got a great one though. All right. Welcome back, everyone. Indian. We're not back yet. Almost. Uh-oh. I heard the music fade out, so I was ready to go. All right. Welcome back to Turn Left. I'm your host, Indiana's own Dana Black. Hey, I'm Facebook Live, so if you want to check that out, if you want to see my mug and take a picture and have something to throw darts at, feel free, go right ahead. All right. I need all of my Black Lives Matter folks to be tuning in. I need you to get your ears sharpened up. I need you to like pay attention to what I'm about to talk about right now. Everybody knows about Jeff Sessions and all of the turmoil and the lying that he did about whether or not he talked to Russia or not. I mean, honestly, there's so much lying going on out of that this administration. I don't want to normalize it, but when have they told the truth about anything? So it's kind of hard to like, you know, how do you manage to like lie about obvious things? So the fact that Jeff Sessions lied about whether or not he had contact with Russians, it's on par with everything else that's coming out of that White House. But what we need to be focusing in on while we're focusing on who he's talking to across the Pacific is the fact that Jeff Sessions, who is now the Attorney General, has basically said that the Justice Department will stop monitoring troubled police agencies. Now, I don't know about you. And again, y'all just heard me say one of my customers is law enforcement, and I understand the job that they do is very, very difficult. I know I couldn't do it because the first thing you got to do is learn how to shoot a gun, and I have no desire to do that. Also, you can't be chicken. You can't, we're finding that more people are afraid of the humans than we thought previously. But we also know that no matter what the demographic is, you're going to have some bad apples. It just is. I honestly, in my heart, believe that 95% of law enforcement individuals are good people. I really believe in my heart that they really have good intentions on taking care of the citizens. They are supposed to serve and protect. That's in their role. And having had the opportunity to talk to law enforcement officers who are politically opposite of me. So it's not like, we're on the same page all the time. They're politically opposite of me. Were explaining to me, they don't always, some officers don't see in black and white, because they see good and bad. They see, crazy, and they see some people who do really awful things in every race, right? But there's that 5% that either are scared, they're chicken, they're, they didn't have their Wheaties this morning, or they had too much coffee, and they do some things that they shouldn't do, like shoot unarmed people. It happens. Listen, this is not a new phenomena. As black folks, we know that we've been, gunned down in the street, for decades. So we know that this happens. I mean, when they were dredging the rivers and the streams in Mississippi looking for the 3 civil rights workers, the 2 Jewish boys and the 1 black boy, Calvert Cheney and all of that back in the 50s, they didn't tell you about how many freedom riders they pulled out of the rivers that were not those 3 boys. So we know from a historical standpoint that law enforcement has been used to subjugate people of color for a long time. The problem is that, there are officers who should be, holding their teammate, their coworker accountable for their actions, and they're not. Or they try to cover certain situations up, and this goes all the way up the chain. So even though there's 95% of the people that are good people, there's still some that do really bad things. And then you also have agencies like over in Ferguson, where they were essentially basing their, budgets off of how many people they were going to arrest. That's how they got their revenue, by, ticketing poor people, right? So the fact that the Justice Department has said that they are going to pull back on monitoring these troubled agencies means I need Black Lives Matter more than ever now. I need y'all to posse up in all 50 states and every law enforcement officer, because apparently the justice system is not going to do it. And I'm going to quote what he says. We need, so far as we can, in my view, these are his words, help police departments get better, not diminish their effectiveness, Mr. Sessions said in remarks to the National Association of Attorney Generals. And I'm afraid we've done some of that. So we're going to try to pull back on this. And I don't think it's wrong or mean or insensitive to civil rights or human rights. All right. So while we've been fooling around and messing around with Russia, the man who in the 1980s was too racist to be Attorney General, who is now the Attorney General, has basically said, listen, sorry about your luck if you unarmed and you ain't done nothing wrong and you get shot. Sorry about your luck. Sorry about your luck if it happens to, it's systematically in a particular space and time. Sorry about your luck. Because I'm not going to do anything about it. But did we really think, a tiger was going to change his stripes? If that man really didn't have any desire to look out for and care for people of color before, did you think now that he's older and more set in his ways? Don't get me wrong, people change. I'm not going to tell you that people don't change, because at one point, I used to drive a forklift. At one point, I used to be a long distance operator. At one point, I didn't realize that there was a much bigger world out there. So I understand people change. But when you listen to him talk, did you really think that he was going to change? Was there anything in his history that said, I am going to be a civil rights champion and that I'm going to care about minority people? No. So I need my Black Lives Matter folks to get involved and start watching and pay attention to what's going on with these agencies and bring them to light, because the Justice Department is not going to be paying attention. And it's not just, people of color who are suspect, meaning brown and black people. The LGBT and our trans, more specifically our trans community, they're in more danger than ever before. Because if we can't count on the Supreme, Justice Department of our land to look out for us, we got to look out for ourselves. And I'm not saying become vigilantes. Let's not get it twisted, because I got to correct people because they'll misconstrue what you're saying. We have to hold people accountable. And if they don't want to watch them, we'll watch them for them. And then when we find evidence of wrongdoing, we'll take it to them. We'll make sure that they have to address us, and we will not be ignored. So all of that stuff about Russia, Putin don't care nothing about that. He don't like black people either. Well, I'm assuming. I just said that. I mean, he could love black people. Right. I'm just saying he could. Okay, I gotta take another quick break. The boss man, HB, is in the building. Radio Next. I'm telling you, the boss man is here. He's allowing this to happen. So give me just a minute. We'll be right back. I'm good. Yeah. I'm good. We got about 14, 15 people.
Yeah, we'll talk it out when we come back in about 5, 2. We'll break it down so we can get them in here and start it.
Okay. 7. All right.
Yeah, that's why I was telling you when I was shutting down. I gotta take that signal away and then load this one back in. So yeah, that's what I was saying.
I was watching what you was doing.
Okay,
I was
cool.
like, what is going on?
I know. And that's why
what's going on, cousin Doris? Thank you. Continue to pray for me. I need that love. My sister T, what's going on, girl? We partying this weekend. We celebrating. We celebrating T's birthday this weekend. Holla.
I always tell you switching from cool blues to fake cats and all that.
What's going on, Danny? Where you been? Haven't seen you in a while. I got a few more topics we're gonna hit on, and then some commentary. We're gonna talk about some things. Let me know what you. Oh, thank you, sis. Oh my God. Send me feedback, positive or negative, because the only way this show is gonna grow is if you guys tell me what I need to do to be better. Right? If I can't talk about every subject, every issue, every time I'm on, but if there are topics that you want me to research, because I don't just come on and just go willy-nilly. I actually look up and understand what I'm going to talk about. But if there's a topic that you want me to comment on or have some feedback on, reach out to me. Send me a message. Tweet me, Indiana Zone, on Twitter. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So reach out to me. If there's something you feel like we need to talk about in depth, if you have some people that you want, to come in and share their story about what's going on in the political sphere, holla at your girl. Because this is our platform, right? We're going to bring it to you the way we talk about it, right? And, there's not enough. I mean, I think Van Jones is great. I think some of the other commentators are fantastic, but, there's a lack of diversity in our newsrooms. I don't claim to be a journalist, but there's a lack of diversity on these television shows and on these radio shows. So I think it's up to us if you see a talent that you think would work, then I'm reading the message from EJ. Yay! You guys promote the show because I think it's cool to see us talking about things that matter to us, not just shucking and jiving all the time. I mean, we have more talents than playing basketball and singing. And I actually am not ever allowed to sing in public. My wife made me sign a prenup that said, you're not allowed to sing ever in public. Now, even when I get to do karaoke, I have to rap my karaoke. I don't get to do that. Just a few more minutes here. Gotta take those commercial breaks. Minute 15 seconds left. See, this is a good time for you before the song goes off. Okay. So the breaks kind of give us a chance to do some interacting and all that good stuff. Let's see what we got here. I know I missed some comments. I'm gonna try to see if I can read some. Tom Sullivan says, is the lack of monitoring a resource allocation question? Jeff did say he was willing to investigate Holder and Lynch to make certain they follow the laws when they ran DOJ. See, Tom, you are so right. How is it that you have enough finances and energy to investigate the outgoing DOJs, but you don't have enough time and energy to focus on what's going on in the here and now? I read that earlier today. I kind of just was like, I'm not even going to deal with that because that is so insane on multiple levels. It's right there with Trump saying that Obama wiretapped Trump Tower and all that. But again, more lies, lies, the standard. So I try not to indulge in the lies too much because there's real stuff that we need to be talking about. Real stuff. All right. Welcome back to Turn Left. I'm your host, Indiana's own Dana Black. Well, we've been hitting it up. So I want to switch gears and talk about healthcare for just a minute. You know that the Republicans released their anti-Obamacare bill. I'm not going to tell you that I get all of the details because honestly, some of that is over my head. But I did do a little research to understand who the winners and losers are. Because you know some of the things they want to get rid of are the man. They want to get rid of the mandate. Well, the mandate pretty much funds the whole thing, right? We know that. But they want to make sure they keep uninsured uninsured what I want to say pre-existing conditions. I'm sorry, pre-existing conditions, and you can stay on your parents' insurance till you're 25, things like that. But what they don't talk about is, you know, the tax breaks, or they mention the tax breaks that they're going to give to the wealthy that are used to fund this plan. Now, I know there are a lot of libertarians and there are some Republicans out there who feel like, you know, why should I pay for somebody else's health care? It's not really paying for somebody else's health care. It's keeping your costs low. You don't look at it in the right way, because the bottom line is if somebody gets sick, they're going to go to the ER. And the ER has to recoup, the hospital has to recoup those costs somehow. So that's why you get charged $15 for a Band-Aid. So those charges are going to be there. The one thing about coverage is if everybody's pitching in a little bit, then you can control those costs. Now, I am a firm believer that universal health care would really bring the cost down, because who could really compete with the government and its 30 million users? You can't. But we've managed to convince people that your health is a commodity, and just like cell phones, your health care should be on the free market. And of course, speaking of cell phones, there's always somebody on the over there that wants to say something silly, like Congressman Chavez. I've been picking on him a lot lately because he was a no-show at his town halls. He got scared at his town halls. He ran away from his town halls, but he wants to get on television and tell people, well, instead of buying that new iPhone, you should choose to take care of your health care. I don't even have to tell you how ridiculous that sounds, right? I don't even have to tell you that. People are not choosing, number one, to be sick. That's the first thing. And most illnesses, if they're not chronic illnesses, kind of pop up all of a sudden. Like you were, like my buddy, we was playing basketball and she tore her ACL. She didn't intend to tear her ACL. In fact, we was having a really good game that day. She was lighting it up and she tore her ACL. But if she hadn't had insurance, where would she be? And those are the things that we don't think about. So the healthcare fight is on. It looks like Republicans are not necessarily going along with this particular plan because it's full of holes. Also, there are Republicans who understand that they have people in their states that are going to lose their insurance, because the bottom line is, here are the healthcare winners. Healthcare winners are young people, because they're usually healthy, wealthy people who can afford anything that they want, and the insurers, because they're going to jack up the premiums. And the losers are the elderly, who more than likely are on fixed incomes, the poor, those that may not have insurance through their jobs or maybe working 2-3 jobs. And of course, we don't raise the minimum wage. And the sick people who, again, are having difficulty going out earning income. So, I guess my question is, how do you put a dollar price on someone's life? What makes your life more valuable than mine, or vice versa? And to me, if you have to ask that question, we're in the wrong place. So, we got to keep an eye out on this. I still have a hard time trying to understand why Republicans are fighting really hard to repeal this health care law. We knew Obamacare wasn't perfect, but you got to start somewhere. You can't just allow people to continue to flounder. And these insurance listen, the bottom line is they gave the insurance companies a sweet deal, right? Oh, well, we don't want to be on the exchange anymore. Why? Because you jacked up all the prices. I think it's interesting how people want to say the Obamacare jacked up the prices. No, Obamacare did not jack up the prices. They sat in that boardroom and said they were going to jack up those prices, because bottom line is insurance companies make over 300% profit. Their profit margins are ridiculous. So to pretend to suggest that Obamacare raised the prices, no. They could have, instead of a 300% profit, they could have made a 200% profit, and they still would have been able to cover everybody. So don't go there. Don't go there with that one. I'm not buying it. All right. So now I got 15 more minutes left, maybe 10. I wanna hit on a couple of things that were said over the last couple weeks, especially at the end of Black History Month. That I'm not sure if this is a product of how we're educating people, or if people actually live in these little bubbles and they can't really see outside the bubbles. But I want to talk about, first of all, Betsy DeVos. Betsy DeVos. She is the director of the education agency, the one that's in charge with making sure that funding and kids are being educated the right way. Yeah. So Betsy says, this is her quote, and I'm gonna read it verbatim because some things just I can't make up, right? Some things you just can't make up. She says, in reference to HBCUs, they started from the fact that there were too many students in America who did not have equal access to education. They saw that the system wasn't working, that there was an absence of opportunity, so they took it upon themselves to provide the solution. Not bad. Then she goes on to say, HBCUs are real pioneers when it comes to school choice. They are living proof that when more options are provided to students, they are afforded greater access and greater quality. Their success has shown that more options help students flourish. So what? Betsy didn't realize that there were, yeah, you're right, they had a choice to go to an HBCU or not go to school at all. What are these people thinking? Are they trying to like pretend like, racism never actually existed and the systems that were put in place to keep people segregated didn't actually exist? And we're just gonna rewrite all of history? What is wrong with her? She is supposed to be the person that's in charge of educating our kids. And she wants to say some old dumb stuff like that. Come on. How do we allow her to get away with that? Oh, I know why. We elected the orange one as president. This is one of his choices. This chick absolutely, either she has no clue of American history, let alone African American history. She has no sense of how systematic racism set up a lot of what we deal with on a regular basis. Now listen, I am not saying that we can't at some point move forward and hopefully learn to embrace each other. I'm not trying to say that we should always stay divided or separated or anything like that, but don't deny history. If you want to sit around and talk about how George Washington crossed the Delaware or chopped down a cherry tree, you better make sure you tell the truth and say he probably didn't chop it down. His homeboy, the brother that was in the overalls that he paid for, chopped down the cherry tree. Stop pretending that black folks were not commodities, that we weren't livestock. Which leads me to Mr. Ben Carson. Now, maybe, Betsy DeVos, having come from wealth and privilege, married into more wealth and privilege, may not have actually had any real, experiences with people who were outside her space. Maybe. I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt, but considering that she worked and did everything she could to destroy public schools in Detroit, I know she knows about where black folks are and what's going on. But Uncle Ben, him and his immigrants. Now I'm gonna read his statement too, because I want to read it all because I can't make this stuff up. Ben says, Ben Carson, the brain surgeon, the